Hey guys, welcome back to the amazing video. In this video, you are going to learn about a CyberChef tool, and this is a great tool that you can't avoid, and you have to learn how to use this tool. So not this video is not only the practical demonstration of how we can use this tool, but also I'm also providing you the lab environment so that you can validate your knowledge and skills after completing the entire video. And after understanding those concepts, you can confirm that you are understand everything by doing the practical tasks that I'm giving at the end of the video. So let's begin first with how to install CyberChef in Linux, which is a tool that you can just run in browser using internet, right? But you can also download and install this tool without an internet. So yeah, let's start with the installation. The first thing that I'm going to show you is to update your Linux. So sudo apt update is recommended. So you can just update your Linux first. It is recommended. So once you complete this update, then you are going to install a CyberChef tool. Okay, this update seems to be within seconds it will complete. So in the meantime, if you doesn't watched all of our videos, if you doesn't watch our playlist, don't forget to watch our playlist. We have a lot of interesting things available in our playlist, so you can just search our channel online and you will be able to see a lot from there. In the playlist, learn ethical hacking from zero to hero, you have a plenty of things to learn from this playlist. I highly recommend you to have some knowledge, guys. Thank you. So anyways, let's start with this. So after updating that, you can just enter CyberChef. That's it. You don't have to enter sudo apt install CyberChef. You can just enter like this and press enter. It will automatically tell you that sudo apt install CyberChef. Then you can just press Y. That will install that. That's cool, right? So it's 76.5 megabyte space needed for this installation. So after that, it's installed right now. So now and CyberChef, that's it. Pressing enter will open up the CyberChef in our browser, and this is cool, right? So yeah, we just install that and this runs in the browser, and as you can see, it's in the user lib CyberChef directory. It's the index.html. So this is the basic interface of CyberChef. In the left hand side we have the operations tab, which has a lot of things, and by default we have some of the favorites like base64, hex, hexdump, url decode, and these are some of the favorites by default available. By default put it into start in the CyberChef, and you do have recipe in the center, and you have some input option in the right hand side, and you do have output option below the input option, right? You have some options to add a new input tab. By pressing here, you can just add input tabs like that, right? So, and you have some option to open folder as input. If you want to open a folder, then you can just open that. You have an option to open file as input. If you want to open a file, image, or whatever it is, then you can just click here and open that particular thing. And you have some option to delete the input. If you put something in the input, you can just press here to delete that. You have some option here to reset the pane layout. For example, this is the pane layout. If I put like this, I can just click here to reset that. That's cool, right? So yeah, so after that, in the output, you can just save the output to a file by pressing here. You can just copy. If the output is text or something like that, you can just copy from here, and you can just replace the input with output, and you can just maximize the output page by clicking here. It will become the fullest screen. That's cool, right? So these are some of the basics that you should know. After that, you have the bake option here, so which is by default selected as auto bake, so which pretty much means that you don't have to do anything. For example, if I enter input as ASDF, and I'm just going to convert this into base64. If I want to convert this into base64 encoding, I have to drag from the operations tab to the recipe. Then this input is converted to the output like this. If the auto bake is not enabled, that pretty much means that it doesn't work. So once I first let me remove all those things. Once I enter ASDF, the output, you won't be able to see the output, right? Once you click bake, then you will see the output. If auto bake is enabled, then you don't have to click the bake. It will just automatically bake it up for you. So that's a cool feature that you should know. Auto bake is good. It is better than manually clicking bake, according to me. Okay, so that's something that you should know. And after that, this is the base64 format, and you can just click here to stop that, to disable this operation. And you have this option to pause, right? Let me enable this operation, and you can see the output changed. And you do have this option to set the breakpoint, to pause it for some time. You can just enable it whenever you want. You have this option to hide the operation arguments, and we show the operation argument, and you do have this option to select the alphabet format from here. And you have this option to save the recipe. If you want to save, then you can just click that and save. And you have, if you want to load recipe, then you can just click here and load recipe. And if you want to clear the recipe, you can just click here to clear all those recipes. Okay, so these are some of the basics that you should definitely need to know. So after that, you have some options here, which is something that you should read and understand. This is something that we are not going to interact as of now. So yeah, this is the video that I'm going to teach you really basics to somewhat intermediary, and the basic thing that you should definitely need to know as an ethical hacker. So yeah, let's start with this input. Like let me enter our channel name. So if you want to convert our name into the base64, you can just put the base64 here, and this is the base64 converted version of this particular channel name, right? So if you want to decode it, so we use the to base64 to convert the input to base64. If you want to decode it from the base64, then you can just use the from base64, and the output should be the decoded version, right? So you can just use multiple operations at the same time. This is how you use it, right? So if you don't want this to run, you can just click here to disable that particular operation. So like that, you can just pause like this, which acts as the same, right? So this is how you can load up multiple operations. If you want this to convert to hex, then you can just load this up. So now this output get converted to hex format. Like that, you can just load multiple recipes, right? That's cool, right? So yeah, you have to know how to do this. So if you don't want to decode from the base64, then you can just pause it out. So once you pause this, then it won't work. So once if I don't want this, then I can just drag this away like this. Now the base64 CyberArk is converted to hex format like this, right? So this is how the conversion works in CyberChef. So you can just click here to clear all the recipes that you previously added there. So you can assume that if you have a URL, right? So you can just decode the URL or encode the URL. So let's do some URL encoding. For example, this is a URL, right? So I'm just pasting this, and I'm just going to encode the URL. So here you have the URL encode option. So this is how it looks like if you encode that. So by clicking here, encode all special characters, then this is how it looks like. So for example, let's load up the google.com and do the URL encoding. Okay, this is the google.com, and I'm just pasting it here and taking this, and by clicking here, this is how it looks like. So as an ethical hacker, you have to know what a URL encoding is. Usually the special characters will be there like this. Pretty much means that it is kind of URL encoded. If you want to decode this, then you can just use the URL decode option like this. Okay, that's cool, right? So why you are learning this in CTF scenarios, in some scenarios, the URLs are encoded, or things like that will be encoded in any other format, like in base64 or any other format. You have to know how to decode it, so, and all those things. So if it is encoded in base64, it is basically, usually if it has equal to at the end, it is pretty much means that it is a base64. May not always, it may not always base64, but there is a chance that this may be base64 if it has equal to at the end. So that's something to keep in mind. So you do have analyze hash option, which you can use here to analyze the hash. if you created a hash, if you have a hash, then you can just use this analyze hash to analyze that. I will show you that. Okay, so first, this is what I'm going to convert into an MD5 hash. Now it's MD5, right? So this is the MD5 hash in the output. So I'm just clearing this recipe and adding the output in the input. Now I'm just using the analyze hash module. So this can analyze the hash. Based on the length, this hash could have been generated by one of the following hash functions. Most probably MD4, right? So like that, it may be MD4, MD5, and MD4, MD2, or whatever it is. It's basically MD5. We usually select the first one, right? So this is how you can just analyze hash using the module, right? We have 4, 7, 6 options are available here, as you can see from here, right? 4, 7, 6 operations are there. So this is how you can use analyze hash to analyze the hash type. Okay, that's cool, right? So moreover, we can do a plenty of things with this CyberChef. Okay, for example, let's enter ASDF and let's search for the first one, the data format. In the data format, you have a plenty of option to hex them. This is how it looks like. So, and we have the base, right? So 2 base 64 will also include, sorry, 2 base 32 also includes equal to at the end, right? And you also have 2 base 45, which will looks like this, and you also have 2 base 53, which will look like this, and 2 base 58, right? So yeah, like that, this will look like this, and this is something that you should know. You have to use these kinds of functions, and once you use these kinds of functions, then only you will know how these types of hash looks like. If you are familiar with these types of hashes or this type of encoding mechanisms, then only you can know if you see a hash or if you see an encoded format, then you your mind said this may be base 64 or this may be base 32. So if you have that experience, if you know how to decode or encode or do things like this, then only you will be able to understand. If you see a hash, it may be this or it may be that. You will understand, it will come up into your brain. So you have to use this, then only it will work. So like that, you have a plenty of options here. This is something that I'm giving it to you. I can't show everything, but this is something that you can do it. Okay, so after that, we have some other options like encryption or encoding. So this also have some of those things like AES and all those things like RC4, Ghost, XOR for XOR brute force, and for Morse code, and a lot of other things. This is something that you can just explore, right? So after that, we have the public key, right? That you can see a lot of public key things like a PGP verify, and if you enter the public key of the signer, then you can just verify that. Like that, you can just use based on your needs. In this case, we are not going to use everything. Okay, you have also have this add option or multiply or subtract option. If you enter the key as 10, so if you input this was 1, it will give you the hex format of that, right? So if you enter the input as 1, it will give you the whatever your input, it will plus to, that to 1, right? So the key is 1. Now whatever number I am just entering here, so for example here I enter 8, the output will be 9. Here I am entering 10, the output will be 2 1, right? So like that it will work. Okay, this is how the add option works. So you do have some basic knowledge. You have to know that options like this existed in the CyberChef. So that's the basic purpose. So in this video, we are only focusing on the most used things, and this is something that it existed here. So you have to know these kinds of things existed here. So that is why it is recommended to just take a look, and if you want, then you can just drag and drop into recipe and try all those things. So in this video, I don't want to waste a lot of time for that, so that's why I'm not going to show everything. So you do have row 13, which is somewhat important. So you can just convert, like this is a text which is rotated into 13, right? So this is the thing in CTF scenarios. Usually you find this row 13 things. If you do a lot of CTF or things like that, some things like some other words or something encoded or put into row 13, you have to decode it from the row 13. So if our channel is into row 13, to looks like this. So if you find a word like this, then you have to use the row 13 function to find which is that, right? So like that, you can just do things like this let's use the row 13 again, and this is converted to the original format, right? So now I'm just copying and pasting it here. Now it is converted to the original format. You can just change the amount here. From here you can just change the amount to 1, row 1, so it will look like this. And once you paste that, it will be changing. I'm not going to deep into it. You can just click here to rotate numbers. If it include numbers, it will rotate that, right? So you can see instead of the 3 here, it is now 4. So once you turn off the rotate numbers, it will be 3. Okay, so this is something that you should know. Row 13, you have to decode that, and I do have providing you a practical task which you have to solve this. Okay, and you do have the row 13 brute force option available. I don't know where it exists, but when you search for the row 13 brute force, you can see you can just brute force like this. So for example, if you convert something into row 13, like our channel name, into converting into row 13. Okay, so let me convert into row 13. So it will look like this, right? So now I'm just pasting it here, and I'm just going to use the row 13 brute force. Right now you will be able to see the amount equal to 13 has our channel name. So whatever amount it is, it was able to find. If the amount is 5, then it will be in the 5. Like that you will be able to find that, right? So cool, right? So like that you can just perform this row 13 brute force using this. If it includes rotate numbers, then you have to enable that also. In this case, it's not included the rotate numbers, so that's why we are disabled that. Okay, that's it. So other than that, you do have a plenty of other options here that is somewhat not useful or somewhat useful for everyone. So I'm gonna focusing on the most important or most used things. So now you learned, as of now, you learned how you can install CyberChef in your Linux, how you can use that, how you can use this to convert to base 64 or some base things. I'm also going to demonstrate that, like you can just convert a word into base 64. It will usually includes equal to or something like that at the end. If it is usually base 64, it contains equal to. Even if it is some kind of base, it may contain equal to. So this equal to at the end never always means that it is base 64. It may be some kind of other bases also. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind. Other than that, we are going to learn about some other things like I think we reached here, right? In the networking. Okay, in the networking you do have some cool options, right? So you learned about the URL encode and decode. It usually includes the percentage symbol. If the URL contains the percentage symbol, it may be the URL encoded version. You can just decode that using the URL decode option from here, right? So and you can also defunk the URL or defunk the IP address, guys. So what that means is, if you have a URL, for example, this is the URL of google.com, right? So if you defunk that, then that pretty much means that you can understand that this is the URL of google.com. So assume that this is some kind of malicious URL that you want to demonstrate somewhere, but you don't want anybody to click into this URL, then you can just defunk that. So I will demonstrate that in practical example. For example, here I am just creating an HTML body anchor tag hyperreference equal to the google.com. I'm just sending click me. So this is a basic HTML code. I will show you how this works. Okay, so this is catch.html. You can just give anything that you would like to use. So now I'm just opening that. Okay, you can just see the click me option here, right? Once you click here, it will move to the google.com, right? So if you don't want anyone to click and view that, then you can just enter, instead of that, you can just enter this. So this may not be clickable. So once I refresh this and click here, then you can see file not found, but the URL includes what you want, right? So you don't want to visit that, but you have to know this is the particular URL. So for that reason you can just use the defunk option, right? So that's the purpose of defunk. Okay, so after that you also have the fang option also available. So the defunct URL and fang URL. So if you get a defunked version, then you can just fang that out. If you want to undefang, then you can have to use the fang URL, then it will be in their original format. That's cool, right? So yeah, this is the reverse of defunct URL. Okay, like that you can just defunk the IP addresses also. Okay, so moreover we also have some other options like encode and some other options in here. You have to convert into uppercase. All of the characters that you inputted here is converted to uppercase, or you have to convert the words, then you can just select that accordingly. If you want to convert sentence or paragraph, then you can just select that accordingly and convert it based on whatever your needs is. If you want to convert into lowercase, then you can also use this if you want. But we are just moving to some other things like extracting IP address. So I'm also providing you some tasks for that. You have to practice. After completing this video, you have to know that you understand something from this video, so that's highly important. So I have a task, right? So that is what I'm going to give it to you. Like I have the IP. So this is a big sentence, right? I'm just what I'm going to do is to add this file here. So by using this option, right? So open file as input, I'm just adding this txt file here. So this is a sentence. If I want to extract IP address from these sentences, then I can just use extract IP option from here. So sometimes I don't know what happened. Maybe I just configured that in the wrong manner. Let me delete that and let me copy and paste that again. Maybe, yeah, I'm just copying and pasting it here. Extract IP doesn't work. It worked before. I don't know what happened. So let me use the website of CyberChef and check if it is working or not. Maybe the issue was in this build. Let's check. Opening the file as input and moving here in the desktop. Still it's not working. I don't know. Once upon the time I just created this, it does worked. I don't know what happened right now. Maybe because of some other issues. Let's import some thing different, like the domain.txt to extract the domain. Extract domain. So now you have the extract domain option. Now you can see it was able to extract the domain example.com, right? So like that you can just use this to extract from a group of from a lot of text, right? So like that you can just use some other things, like you can just open the file and mac.txt, so which will contain the MAC address. So I'm just using this module to extract MAC address, and this will contain these MAC addresses, right? So you can just use this to extract various things. So other than that, you also have some other options, like let's input that the mail.txt, which may contain mail. So this is the previous one. So if you click to open a new tab, then you can just open that here. So if you want to extract MAC address, then you can just use this. You can see the MAC address extracted. And if you want to extract mail from here, then you can just use extract mail email address. Now let me eliminate this and check if it was able to find. So display total, yeah, now you can see it was able to find that you find it at gmail.com. Total found 1. Like that you were able to find things like this. So this is how you can use this, and I hope you understand that. And some other things are for you to work with you. So this is something that you should work, and this is something that you should need to do and solve this challenge. After completing this video, I will provide this folder in my GitHub repo, and a link to that GitHub repo will also be available. So you have to download this, which will be available in my desktop. So I will just post this into the GitHub, so that you can just copy, you can just download this and input like what I done right now, and you have to practice this. And I have some tasks assigned for you in this. So in the base means it may be some kind of base, so you have to decode that. In the domain means it has some domain name. In the IP means it may contain some IP address. So like that you do have, in the MAC means it may contain MAC address. You have to extract the MAC address, you have to extract the mail address, you have to find the raw version of this. Like that you have to do these things. So the link to this folder will be available in the description of this video. You can just click that, and you will be able to find that. You can download that and do all those tasks. So that lets you think that you have learned a lot of things from this video. So other than that, we have some pretty much interesting things available here. Like for example, I am just entering some random letters. Okay, so I'm just going to convert this into the zip file. So I can just enter zip. So now you can see it is now converted to zip file called the file name file.txt. You can just change the file name if you want. If you want to create a password, then you can just create that. 123 is my password. I'm just saving here, and it has the name of download.zip. So it's now download.zip. Inside that you have the file.txt. You have to enter the password. If you enter the password like 123 here, then still you can't unlock that. It's a wrong password. I don't know what it is, but you will be able to decode that from this CyberChef website. So you can just use the unzip option, and after that you can just open that file and the download.zip and open that out, and you can see it is saying us to enter the password. So now once you enter the password, you will be able to see the content, right? So how cool it is, right? So you can just click here to verify the result. So once you enter the wrong password, it won't be able to unlock that. So that's cool, right? Just CyberChef things, guys. So yeah, this is something that you definitely need to know as an ethical hacker. Most people or most beginners skip this, so that's why I just included that. So after that, you can do some other things like to generate a QR code. If you have a URL, for example, if you have a URL, so for example, I'm just moving to not try hack me, so I'm just moving to google.com. So if I want to make a QR code, then I can just paste that here. Let me correct the QR code, the URL, and after that I have the option to generate QR code. So if you scan this, you will be moved to this particular URL. So you can just expand that by clicking here, right? So like that, you can just generate QR code using this CyberChef tool, guys. So you can do a lot of things. That's so much interesting things that you can do with the CyberChef, guys. Okay. Other than that, you also have some options like the hashing. So you also have the option to generate all hashes. Right, so for example, I'm just entering some letters like ASDF, and I just use that generate all hash. It will generate all types of hashes. So it's loading the output. Let me refresh that. Okay, now you can see the ASDF is the input, its MD2 hash is this, its MD4 hash is this, and all those kinds of hashes of this particular input was shown here. Pretty cool, right? So like that, you can generate all the types of hashes within seconds using the CyberChef tool. So that's pretty great. So most people doesn't know about this. That's why I've been creating this video, guys. Okay, that's cool, right? So like that, you can generate only specific hashes by using some of these. You can just use that, generate all hashes to generate all those things. So like that, you do have a lot of other options. That is something that you should visit and do things like that. So other than that, we also have some other options like to detect the file type. So it will detect image, video, audio, document, applications, miscellaneous, archives. So I'm just opening a file here. For example, I'm just opening an image file which will be available in my desktop. So here is my image. I'm just opening that. So now you can see the file type and the extension and the MIME type. So you can just find that. If you untick the image, then it was not able to find the type of the file that you provided there. If you tick the image, then only it was able to find. Like that, you will be able to find the types of video, the file type of video, audio, documents, applications, archives, etc. Right? Miscellaneous also. So yeah, that's cool, right? So like that, you do have some other options. This is something that you can just try. Okay, so and other than that, we also have the multimedia option for playing the media. So you can see, once you hover over, you will be able to see the description of what it is. It will generate an image using the input as pixel values, right? So like that, you can just hover over to see the description of what it is. If you want to blur the image, then you can just use that. So the fast blurring image was started, the amount was 5, and the tape was fast. So it has fast and Gaussian. So the amount here was 5. Let me refresh that so that I think it will work faster. It says invalid file type. Let me import the image again. Okay, so you can see fast blurring image was showing here. So I don't know. Yeah, it worked. You can see the output here. So render image will produce. Yeah, it's working. Yeah, here it is. Here is the blurred version of this particular image, right? So you can just expand like this. Okay, so like that, you can just do some kind of little bit of image editing things like that here in the multimedia option in the CyberChef, right? You can just see the resize option. If you want to resize, if you want to crop, then you can just use that, and some other options for that is available. You can just adjust the brightness, flip it, and do things like that. You can just add text to image if you want to add text. Like for example, if I want to add a channel name, then I'm just entering the text here. Let us see what will be the output of CyberChef. It is adding text, and as you can see, it added our channel name into the particular image. Here you can see that, right? So like that, you can just use this CyberChef tool for a wide variety of purposes that I demonstrated here. Most people doesn't know these kinds of things, so that's why I'm just demonstrating these. Also, this is something interesting that you should know, and the features like this existed in the CyberChef still unknown to so lots of people, so that's why I'm been demonstrating that. You have to open all those things to see that how cool CyberChef is, right? So I think that you learned a lot that you doesn't know about CyberChef before. If you watch this video without skipping, then you were able to learn a lot. So after this is the end of this video. Okay, now you have some tasks that I'm just giving it to you to confirm that you understand all those concepts. So I will be providing you with a GitHub repo link which will be available in the description of this video, and that particular link will look like this. So you have some folder to download. You have to download that folder. In the folder, you will be able to find these kinds of things. In the base, you have to decode this. You have to find the version, like it may be base 64, it may be any kind of base. So it may contain any domain name, it may contain any IP address. Like that, you have to decode and find that out. Okay, so I will be providing more tasks than what you see here. So yeah, you have to complete that to validate your knowledge.